The NHL playoffs are almost here, and it's time for me to show you my bracket. I'm going to go through both the East and the West, give you my reasoning why I think each team is going to move on, and finally show you who I think is going to win the Stanley Cup. Now we're all set up for the bracket challenge through Lazarus. If you guys want to join, chance to win $500 and a great prize pack from Warrior. Link is in the description there. It's free to join. And I'm just going to go ahead and pick my bracket with you guys. You guys are going to get to see everything. And first things first, Colorado or Seattle? I'm going to go with Colorado. I'm sorry, Seattle. I'm going Colorado. Hey, look, I'm over here now. I'm just going to go... I figured it'd be easier to look like this. Keep this in. Why not? Dallas, Minnesota. This is actually a tough one, if I'm being honest with you. I think both teams are really good. Kaprizov on one side, but I'm going to go with Dallas, mainly because of Wyatt Johnston. Obviously, former Wizards Spitfire. I got to go with the kid. I am going Dallas. I definitely see a scenario where Minnesota wins as well, but for my bracket, I am going to go Dallas. Vegas and Winnipeg. I'm sorry, Fluffy, one of my mods. I'm going Vegas in this one. Even though I'm not really, sure with their goaltending, Winnipeg's had such a weird year, and I don't know if it's time to blow it up or whatever they're thinking over in Winnipeg, but Vegas sneaks out a victory. I don't even know in how many games. I don't really care, if I'm being honest. I'd say Vegas in 6 or 7. And then Edmonton and LA, it's Edmonton, right? It's gotta be Edmonton, right? Now, Colorado, I'm going to have beat Seattle, and I'm going to say 5. Vegas and Winnipeg, I'll say 6. Dallas, Minnesota, I'm going to say go 7. And Edmonton and LA, I'm going to put 5. Maybe LA squeaks out a win, but I can't bet against McDavid and Dry and all those guys. Now for the other side, Boston or Florida. I'm going with the best regular season team ever in Boston. I don't think that should be a surprise. I'm going to leave Toronto and Tampa for now. I got a lot to say, so we'll move on to Carolina and the Islanders. I am going to go with Carolina. Their defense and just overall structure of a game is just, while it is the most boring games to watch, it is effective. And I know that Barzal is going to be back for the Islanders, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Even though they have Sorokin, and I know that they have some good young players, I don't think it'll be enough to beat the Carolina Hurricanes. And as for the Devils versus the Rangers, I am going to go with the Rangers here. Now, hear me out. I know I'm really good friends with Reek, and he's a Devils fan. I just think the Devils are very young. They don't have the experience to play in the playoffs, and I think that the Rangers will squeak out a victory. I don't think it'll be in 4 or 5, but I do think the Rangers will sneak by the Devils. Now, as for Toronto and Tampa, all right. Look, I know this is why a lot of people are here. Who am I going to pick, Toronto or Tampa? And at the end of the day, Toronto is my second favorite team. Yeah, I'm a Wings fan. No, the Wings didn't make the playoffs. But I live in between Detroit and Toronto. I watched both teams growing up. My grandfather is a massive Leafs fan, and I would love to see the Toronto Maple Leafs move on to the second round. Hell, I'd love to see them win the Cup. Is this the year they finally get out of round 1? Looking at both teams, looking at both rosters, I'm going to be dead honest with you, Tampa in 7. And if this happens, I don't know what happens to the Leafs core. I don't know if Dubas stays. I don't know if they just leave it the way it is. Maybe they do. Maybe they just leave it for one more year and try and run it back. But for me, looking at both teams, it's so close. Both teams are extremely close. And I think it's going to come down to goaltending. And when it comes down to goaltending, you don't bet against Andrei Vasilevskiy. So I do have Tampa winning. And like I said, in 7. I'm not going to... as bad as this is, because I do want to see the Leafs do well, I just don't think this is it. I don't think this is the team. And I love the additions of O'Reilly and Shen. And I think they did a really good job of getting players who are going to help them. And Samsonov's been good, but... is it going to be enough? I just don't see it happening. And I would love to be proven wrong. Do not get me wrong. If Toronto makes it out of the first round this year, I will be happy. So Tampa in 7. Rangers and Devils, I'm going to say Rangers in 6. Carolina over the Islanders, I'm saying 5. And then Boston and Florida. I mean, I could probably put Boston sweeping Florida. So there you go. That's my bracket for the first round of the playoffs. Now for round 2. And round 2... it's going to be interesting. I'm going to say Colorado over Dallas, and I don't think I'm an idiot for saying that. Yes, they're missing Landeskog, and I know that there's a lot of injuries and whatnot, but Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, I can't bet against them now. And then Vegas, Edmonton, I am going Edmonton, and I think that's going to be a crazy matchup, Colorado, Edmonton in round 3. Boston versus Tampa, I am going to go Boston, and Carolina versus the Rangers, I'm going to go... See, this is a tough one. Carolina and the Rangers, it's a weird matchup. The Rangers really stacked up between the team defense and the way that the team is structured in Carolina and the absolute ridiculous lines of the Rangers. You have Kane, Zibanejad, Panarin. Then you have the young kids line. It's crazy over there. I think that I'm going to go with the Rangers. And we're going to have the Rangers versus the Bruins in the original 6 matchup in round 3. In round 3, it's Colorado versus Edmonton. This is a tight matchup. McDavid versus McKinnon. at the end of the day, I do think that Edmonton moves on and goes to the finals. I do. I think Connor McDavid finally does it this year. They move on, they go to the finals, and you have a matchup between Connor McDavid versus the New York Rangers. That is my final. I think the Rangers sneak out in 7 games against the Bruins. I think that's going to be a crazy matchup. And honestly, I can't really believe that I'm voting against the Bruins here because they had such a good regular season. There's just something with the Rangers this year. I don't know. And that, look, I know it's probably a hot take, and people are like, oh, you're just doing this to be funny or whatever. Guy, I don't... This is just what I'm picking. I think the Rangers not only beat the Boston Bruins, but for your Stanley Cup, I am going with the Rangers to win the Cup this year. I think they made some ridiculous moves that they're not going to be able to maintain next year, by the way. They went all in this season, and next year is going to be a different story. But this year, I think the Rangers are going to win the Cup. Now, what does this mean for McDavid, Draisaitl, and all that? I think that they come back next year even stronger and potentially fight for the finals again next year. But I don't think that they're going to do it this year. But, I mean, if we get Edmonton and the Rangers in the finals, I think that would be a crazy matchup. It would be so much fun to watch. Let's see if we can make it happen. As for the tiebreaker, I have absolutely no idea. As for the tiebreaker, I think the Rangers are going to win in 6. So, at an average of 5 goals a game, I'm going to put 30 down for total goals scored. I'll go ahead and submit my bracket. And we are all set here with my bracket challenge here for Lazarus. Again, if you guys want to join, link is in the description. Win some great prizes. Now, I know I probably made some controversial picks, and I apologize if I offended you by not selecting your favorite team. You guys let me know down below who you think is going to win the Cup this year. Will Tampa beat Toronto, or will Toronto finally make it out of the first round? I know that's going to be a hot topic of discussion. I went with Tampa, but again, I'm not upset if Toronto wins. Please let me make that clear. I am down to see either team move on. If this is the year for Toronto, I hope they make a Cup run. I hope it's not one and done. Regardless, I appreciate you guys checking out this video. Have a great day, and don't forget to check out the Lazarus Bracket Challenge. Click the link in the description, join, and try and win some money. Why not? It's free. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Stay frosty.